Now this is a meal I've waited my whole life for.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most iconic female baddies in the Disney canon. There will be a few spoilers ahead.
Now is that fair, Gramps, I ask you?
But then...
Whoever said we had to play fair?
Number 30, Helga Sinclair, Atlantis, The Lost Empire.
Who are you? How did you get in here? I came down the chimney. Ho, ho, ho.
From her first scene, it's clear that she's not to be trifled with. Helga is beautiful, tough, and no nonsense, which makes her a pretty likable character. That is, until she betrays the hero. It turns out that she's not just an adventurer. She's willing to destroy an entire ancient civilization in order to sell their magic crystal to the highest bidder.
That crystal is the only thing keeping these people alive. You take that away and they'll die.
Well, that changes things. Helga, what do you think?
Knowing that, I'd double the price.
I was thinking triple.
Like most Disney villains, she eventually gets what's coming to her, though her demise is a little anticlimactic. When you partner up with a traitor, you can't be too surprised when the tables turn against you.
You said we were in this together! You promised me a percentage!
Next time, get it in writing.
Number 29, Darla, Finding Nemo. From the perspective of the main character, she might be the most terrifying antagonist in Disney history. That makes it especially fitting that she's introduced like a horror villain. Darla isn't a traditional bad guy. She doesn't have a nefarious plan, and she's not trying to hurt the fish on purpose. That actually makes her even scarier.
She wouldn't stop shaking the bag.
Poor Chuckles.
He was her present last year.
She's not evil. She's more like an agent of chaos. That said, she'll probably grow out of this fish-killing phase. In the meantime, she needs adults around her who will stop enabling her behavior, and who know better than to buy pets who have been kidnapped from the wild.
Crikey! All the animals are gone mad!
Number 28, Aunt Sarah, Lady and the Tramp.
And if you want my advice, you'll destroy that animal at once.
Don't worry, ma'am.
If you don't like dogs, you're automatically the villain. Hey, we don't make the rules. When Jim Deere and Darling go on vacation, they leave Lady and the new baby in the care of Aunt Sarah. She immediately banishes Lady from the baby's room, and things only get worse from there.
Good afternoon, ma'am. What can I do for you?
I want a muscle. A good, strong muscle.
The woman is completely unreasonable at every turn. Because of her, a rat nearly gets to the baby, and the tramp winds up in the dog catcher's clutches, where he almost meets an untimely end. The next time Jim Deere and Darling need some time away, we hope they get someone else to watch the house.
Hey, what's the matter with the lady?
Oh, she thinks we're running out on him.
Oh, don't worry, old girl.
Number 27, Gabby Gabby, Toy Story 4.
Hello, Woody. I knew you'd be back.
Although she initially comes across as kind of terrifying, Gabby turns out to be more sympathetic than most Disney villains. She wants what most toys want, to be loved by a child. The difference is that she's willing to do anything to get it, even if it means getting her hands dirty.
We gotta go.
You can't leave yet. You have what I need. Right inside there.
With her cadre of dummy henchmen, Gabby is like a crime boss, and the antique store is her turf. She holds Forky hostage in exchange for Woody's voice box, and with a little help from the gang, her wish finally comes true. Her methods were underhanded, but we have to admit that seeing Gabby finally get her happy ending was pretty gratifying.
Are you lost too?
I'm Gabby Gabby. Will you be my friend?
I'll help you.
Number 26, Queen Ingrith, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. The title of this movie is a little misleading, since Ingrith is the one who's actually evil.
Well, there are many who prey on the innocent. I'm sure your kind would agree.
What do you mean, my kind?
She means humans.
Although at first she seems welcoming, if a little rude to Maleficent, she has a dark secret. She's held a grudge against the fairies since she was young, and now she's determined to eradicate them and take over their lands.
And now, my own son, corrupted with visions of harmony.
But peace will not be our downfall.
She spent years waging a smear campaign against Maleficent and building an arsenal of iron weapons to use against the Fae folk. The sequel subverts our usual ideas about good and evil. The villain is no longer an ugly old crone, but is instead portrayed by the beautiful Michelle Pfeiffer and is clothed in all white. It's a good lesson for young viewers. Don't be deceived by appearances.
They were all terrified. And the story became legend.
Number 25. Calypso. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
You want to know me?
There'll be no knowing here. We've come for help and we're not leaving without it.
In the previous film, Dead Man's Chest, Tia Dalma seems to simply be a voodoo witch who happened to have the information the main characters needed to find the Flying Dutchman. However, in At World's End, we learn that she's actually the sea goddess Calypso, who was bound in human form by the pirate lords after she and Davy Jones betrayed each other.
The brethren court. All of them. The last thing they will learn in this life is how cruel I can be.
Captain Barbossa frees her, assuming she'll help him to defeat his enemies. Instead, the enraged goddess disappears into the sea, summoning a massive maelstrom that nearly devours everyone. Honestly, we can't blame her. Being stuck inside a human body for eternity sounds pretty dreadful.
It has been torture, trapped in this single form, cut off from the sea, from all that I love.
Number 24. Evelyn Dever. Incredibles 2.
So you're the screenslaver.
Yes and no. Let's say I created the character and pre-recorded the messages.
Thanks to her technical genius, she turns out to be quite a daunting villain. Evelyn has had a grudge against superheroes ever since they failed to save her parents during a home invasion. Now, she's determined to ruin their image, to ensure they'll never be legalized again.
Superheroes keep us weak!
Are you gonna kill me?
Nah. Using you is better.
Using hypnotic goggles, she's able to get an entire army of supes under her control. It's only thanks to the incredible kids, including the extremely overpowered Jack-Jack, that her plan fails. With just a bit more luck, she might have successfully subdued every supe and made superheroes a thing of the past.
I'm sorry, but she'll go to prison.
Well, I'm sorry, she's rich and will probably get no more than a slap on the wrist.
Number 23. Baroness von Hellman. Cruella. This villain origin story gave us an even bigger, badder antagonist in the Baroness.
What do you want? I mean, you clearly wanted to get my attention.
I want to be like you. You're a very powerful woman.
She's vain, selfish, controlling, and kind of iconic. It's understandable that Cruella would look up to her as a sort of role model, until she learns how evil the Baroness actually is. She doesn't just treat everyone around her as an inferior, she's an actual murderer.
I know you killed my mother.
You're going to have to be more specific.
What?
Who exactly? Just narrow it down for me.
The Baroness's true colors come out when Cruella begins showing her up, stealing the spotlight at fancy balls and drawing the attention of the press. Yet somehow, she's still delightful to watch every time she's on screen.
Here's to me. Who the hell else would I drink to?
Number 22. Xian Young. Mulan.
You're a witch, am I? And who are you?
We love a good redemption arc. Like Mulan, Xian Young was ostracized for refusing to submit to a woman's typical role. She went on to become a powerful witch with the ability to shapeshift, and she joins Buri Khan in his attempt to overthrow the emperor and rule China. She sees herself in Mulan, and even suggests that the two join forces.
You're just at the beginning of your power. Merge your path with mine. We will be stronger together.
When Mulan refuses, Xian Young admires her even more. When she realizes that Khan will never give her the respect she craves, she turns on him, ultimately sacrificing herself in a heroic gesture.
Take your place, Mulan.
Number 21. Namaari. Raya and the Last Dragon. Speaking of noble sacrifices, this warrior princess is willing to do anything to protect her clan.
The Taillands are infested with June. Benja's daughter is as good as stone out here. Retrieving some useless dragon scroll isn't worth the risk.
Anyone else want to question why we're out here?
The Fang tribe has been less prosperous than the Heart tribe since Namaari was a little girl. She betrays her best friend Raya to steal Heart Dragon's gem, thinking it will make things better for her own tribe.
In a different world, maybe we could have been friends, but I have to do what's right for Fang.
As Sisu the dragon correctly points out, Namaari didn't really want to cause harm. She was just looking out for the interests of her tribe. Her mother, Chief Virana, is also prepared to go to extremes to safeguard Fang. But in the end, it's Namaari's self-sacrifice that saves all of the tribes.
Oh, it worked! It worked!
Number 20. Madame Medusa, The Rescuers. Many Disney villains have plans to take over the world, rule the cosmos, become immortal gods, you know, all that cartoony stuff. But then there are some villains like Madame Medusa who are all too realistic.
That little brat has escaped again! Nero, Brutus, bring her back, boys.
Medusa is a greedy and temperamental woman who runs a seedy pawn shop in New York. That is until her obsession with diamonds brings her south to Devil's Bayou in search of a massive one called the Devil's Eye.
I want that diamond. I've got to have the Devil's Eye.
When she's too large to reach its hiding place, Medusa returns to New York, kidnaps an orphan named Penny, and brings her to New Orleans so she can retrieve the diamond.
Get down there and find the big diamond, or you will never see that teddy again!
In a way, a violent kidnapper is much scarier than any would-be world conqueror. Number 19. Te Kā, Moana. Few Disney villains are as physically intimidating as Te Kā.
A demon of earth and fire.
Composed of lava and flames, she is a colossal figure who towers over Moana and Maui, crawls around like some type of animal, and has a very creepy skull-like face. It's all enough to frighten adult viewers, let alone young children. But there's also a tragic backstory behind this horrifying villain, giving her some welcome complexity.
This is not who you are.
Te Kā was once known as Te Fiti, and she provided the gift of life. However, Maui stole her heart in a misguided attempt to impress humanity, and as a result, the goddess unleashed her rage on the whole world. Number 18. Kaa, The Jungle Book. 2016's The Jungle Book proved one of the finest live-action Disney remakes, if you even want to call it live-action. In a break from the original depiction of this character, here, Scarlett Johansson lends an eerie vocal performance to the now female snake.
Who are you?
Mowgli comes across her creepy domicile after running from Shere Khan, and the setting works wonderfully in building character and setting the mood.
Don't you know what you are? I know what you are. I know where you came from.
Kaa herself is a terrifying creation, a 30-foot-long python who hypnotizes Mowgli with her slithery voice in an attempt to eat him.
You can be with me if you want. I'll keep you close.
If it wasn't for the timely intervention of Baloo, Mowgli would have been snake grub. The scene was unsettling enough in the 1967 original. The convincing CGI makes it petrifying. Number 17. Zira, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Scar was a mean son of a gun, and he directly influenced a number of other lions to be just like him. The worst of them all is Zira.
Is the lioness's mournful cry. That's my lullaby.
Zira was one of Scar's most devoted followers while he led the Pride. When he died, Zira and Scar's other supporters were banished and became known as the Outsiders. Like Scar before her, Zira is a very conniving and heartless creature. She doesn't even love her own children, seeing them more as political tools and puppets. It's only when they show an understanding of her evil plans that Zira displays affection and pride.
You thought you'd get to the daughter, and Simba would welcome you with open arms?
What an idea! What an idea!
She's a nasty lion, and a worthy successor to one of Disney's most iconic villains. Number 16, Lana Thomas, The Princess Diaries. Played by Mandy Moore in her film debut, Lana Thomas is a stereotypical character who could be right at home in Mean Girls. She's a beautiful cheerleader and a popular student, and her power within the high school social circle allows her to torment Mia. Lana takes pride in her unpleasant personality, and viewers quickly grow to hate her.
She's got her bathing suit off. Okay, now!
The end of the film proves wonderfully cathartic, though, when Mia smears chocolate ice cream over Lana's beloved cheerleading uniform, resulting in a whiny and satisfying outburst.
Mia, you're such a freak!
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that, but you will never stop being a jerk.
There's something very gratifying about watching a mean girl get their comeuppance.
Mrs. Gupta, did you see what she did to me?
Oh, no, honey, I'm sorry. I was in a very important meeting. Send it out for dry cleaning.
Number 15, Madame Mim, The Sword in the Stone. Madame Mim is the antithesis to Merlin, the yin to his yang.
Now don't tell me you've never heard of the marvelous Madame Mim!
Like Merlin, Madame Mim is an incredibly powerful wizard, and her talents rival, and arguably even best Merlin's, who is supposedly the most powerful wizard in the whole world.
Merlin, the world's most powerful bungler. Why, boy, I've got more magic in one little finger.
Mim is annoyingly arrogant, but her talents generally back up her boisterous personality. She is a practitioner of dark magic, and she uses said magic for sadistic purposes.
I'm afraid I'll have to destroy you. Destroy me? Yeah, I'll give you a sporting chance. I'm mad about games, you know.
Perhaps her greatest talent is shapeshifting into a massive dragon, which serves as a scary visual reminder of her power and a representation of her evil.
Did I say no purple dragons? Did I?
Number 14, Warden Louise Walker, Holes. The overbearing Warden character is a popular one in fiction, and Warden Louise Walker is a great example. Walker oversees Camp Green Lake, a children's detention center that sees juvenile delinquents digging holes as punishment.
What am I supposed to be looking for, Mr. Sir?
You're not looking for anything. You're building character. You take a bad boy, make him dig holes all day in the hot sun, and it turns him into a good boy.
Of course, there are ulterior motives behind the digging. Whatever Mr. Sir says, the kids are actually looking for a stash of buried treasure that once belonged to a Wild West outlaw. This is representative of the Warden's very character. She is deceptively friendly on the outside, but she harbors ulterior motives and a cold, dangerous personality.
Rattlesnake venom. I just love what it does to the color, and it's perfectly harmless when it's dry.
She utilizes what is essentially child slave labor, and she isn't above poisoning her own employees with rattlesnake venom simply for wasting her time.
I suggest you go back to your hole now.
Number 13, Jadis, the White Witch, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Based on C.S. Lewis's iconic children's novel of the same name, The Chronicles of Narnia contains a perfect adaptation of Jadis the White Witch. Excellently portrayed by Tilda Swinton, Jadis is the very personification of evil. She is the leader of Narnia, having usurped power over the world and subjected it to an endless winter.
Always winter, never Christmas. It's been a long winter.
The winter is symbolic of Jadis's character. Harsh, cold, uncaring, and cruel.
You are giving me your life and saving no one. So much for love.
And like Warden Walker, the White Witch pretends to be nice when it suits her needs, especially when it involves manipulating young Edmund.
I have no children of my own. And you are exactly the sort of boy who I could see one day becoming Prince of Narnia. Maybe even king.
Few characters in children's literature are as menacing and heartless as Jadis the White Witch. Number 12, Dawn Bellwether, Zootopia. There are a few things that set Bellwether apart from other Disney villains. For one thing, she's a sheep. For another, she wears adorable little outfits befitting her public office job. And finally, she has a distinctive high-pitched voice provided by Jenny Slate.
Us little guys really need to stick together, right? Like glue. Good one.
But make no mistake, she is a vicious sheep. From behind the scenes, Bellwether carried out a plot to make the predator citizens of Zootopia seem like dangerous savages, so prey species like her could rule.
It won't work. Fear always works. And I'll dart every predator in Zootopia to keep it that way.
Civilized creatures like Mr. Monchus were attacked with her night howler concoctions, turning them violent and resulting in discrimination against the predators of Zootopia. Bellwether is a truly disgusting villain, both in terms of actions and motivation.
I framed Lionheart. I can frame you too. It's my word against yours.
Number 11. The Sanderson Sisters. Hocus Pocus. This perennial Halloween classic is certainly a lot of fun, but it contains a dark undercurrent. That is in large part due to the Sanderson sisters.
I put a spell on you. And now you're mine.
With a potion from Winifred's Manual of Witchcraft and Alchemy, written by the devil and bound in human skin, the trio concoct a plan to regain their youth and beauty by sucking the life force from the children of Salem.
One thing more and all is done. And a bit of thine own tongue.
Young Emily Binks becomes their first victim, but the villagers are able to stop them from doing further harm. For 300 years or so. One virgin with a lighter, though, and they are back in business and determined to finish what they started.
That we must find the book, brew the potion, and suck the lives out of the children of Salem before sunrise. Otherwise, it's curtains.
Iconic as the Sanderson sisters are, we can't forget that they are the wickedest of witches. Number 10. Mombi, Return to Oz. This weirdly dark fantasy film serves as an unofficial sequel to the classic original, and it borrows elements from L. Frank Baum's Oz novels. For example, Mombi is an amalgamation of both Mombi of the Marvelous Land of Oz and Princess Langwidere from Ozma of Oz.
I don't remember her.
Take us to Mombi. No.
Mombi proves one of Disney's scariest villains, altering her physical appearance by swapping out a collection of human heads.
What do you think?
I think you're very beautiful.
I should hope so.
She eventually locks Dorothy in her tower with the hope of adding hers to the stock in the future.
You will be rather attractive. One day. Not at all beautiful, you understand, but you'll have a certain prettiness. Different from my other heads.
Return to Oz is often criticized for being too dark and unsettling. It's no surprise considering Mombi's habits. Number 9. Lady Tremaine, Cinderella. A definitive Disney film, Cinderella contains some of the greatest villains in the company's history. The evil stepsisters are truly despicable pieces of work, and their mother, Lady Tremaine, is somehow even worse.
That's quite enough. Hurry along now, both of you. I won't have you upsetting yourselves.
Like Madame Medusa, Lady Tremaine is a very grounded Disney villain who doesn't resort to world-ending schemes. Rather, she simply takes pleasure in psychologically tormenting her unfortunate stepdaughter, all because Cinderella is prettier than her biological daughters.
Now, let me see. There's the large carpet in the main hall. Clean it. And the windows upstairs and down. Wash them.
The story of Cinderella has remained unendingly popular owing to its relatable nature, complete with a 2015 live-action remake, in which Cate Blanchett brought Tremaine's domineering persona to life.
Oh, it seems too much to expect you to prepare breakfast, serve it, and still sit with us. Wouldn't you prefer to eat when all the work is done, Ella? Or should I say Cinderella?
Lady Tremaine is, unfortunately, one of Disney's most tragically realistic villains. Number 8. The Red Queen, Alice in Wonderland. 2010's Alice in Wonderland is the movie that kicked off the live-action Disney remakes, earning praise for its visuals and grossing over $1 billion. It also contained a fantastic villain in the Red Queen.
Go to his house and collect the little ones. I love tadpoles on toast, almost as much as I love caviar.
She is an amalgamation of Lewis Carroll's Red Queen, the Duchess, and the Queen of Hearts, who herself was the villain of the 1951 original. Played by a very odd-looking Helena Bonham Carter, the Red Queen is a tyrannical ruler with a penchant for ordering executions.
Where is Alex?
Oh, that wee little boy. I wouldn't know.
What if I take off your head? Will you know then?
Anyone caught disobeying her rule is beheaded, and her paranoia means that no one is safe. She's unpredictable, she's dangerous, and she's very, very crazy. In short, she's the perfect Disney villain.
Your white stain. It is far better to be feared than loved.
Number 7. Queen Nerissa, Enchanted. One of Disney's most creative and self-aware efforts, Enchanted is an animated live-action comedy that sees a prototype Disney princess being transplanted in modern-day New York City.
Where did you send her?
To a place where there are no happily ever afters.
Likewise, the film's main antagonist, Queen Nerissa, is the prototypical Disney villain, a combination of Maleficent and the evil queen from Snow White. Like Maleficent, Nerissa is a master of dark magic and can turn into a dragon.
You're crazy! No, spiteful, vindictive, very large, but never crazy.
Like the evil queen, she displays skill in alchemy and makes poison apples in the hopes of killing Giselle. And of course, all this hatred stems from a desire to cling to power.
Oh, so this is the little forest rat who thinks she can steal my throne.
By serving as a tribute to the Disney villain archetype, Nerissa displays their best, or rather, worst traits. Number 6. Mother Gothel, Tangled. Mother may indeed know best, but we wouldn't recommend listening to Mother Gothel.
If he's lying, don't come crying.
Gothel is an old, creepy crone who locked away Rapunzel to harness the power of her magic hair. Rapunzel's hair harbors the healing properties of the sundrop flower, allowing Gothel to retain a youthful appearance.
Gothel had found her new magic flower, but this time, she was determined to keep it hidden.
She brainwashes Rapunzel into fearing the outside world and keeps her trapped in the tower for nearly 20 years, taking on a matronly personality and utilizing subtle tricks like guilt trips to keep Rapunzel an obedient daughter.
I love you very much, dear.
I love you more.
I love you most.
We're not sure what's worse, kidnapping, imprisoning, and gaslighting a child for decades, or doing it all for the sake of vanity. Number 5. Yzma, the Emperor's New Groove. Despite Disney entering a bit of a dark age around the new millennium, Yzma remains one of the company's most popular villains. She shares many similarities with Disney villains of old, wishing to usurp the throne from Emperor Cusco, and utilizing some magical potions to carry out her nefarious deeds.
This isn't poison. This is extract of llama. Ugh.
You know, in my defense, your poisons all look alike. You might think about relabeling some of them.
But what sets Yzma apart from the others is the comedic way in which she's depicted. She often resorts to overly elaborate plans, grows increasingly irritated with the dim-witted Kronk, and has a comically eccentric personality. And many of her catchphrases have become popular within the pop culture vernacular.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
In many ways, Yzma is the most unique Disney villain of the modern era.
I know. It's called a cruel irony, like my dependence on you.
Number 4. Cruella de Vil, 101 Dalmatians. Cruella de Vil is easily one of Disney's best baddies. No matter what version it is, whether it's the Glenn Close iteration from the 1996 adaptation, or the Emma Stone one from the 2021 origin story, Cruella de Vil remains a captivating character.
Oh, to see her is to take a sudden chill.
It's hard to say just what makes her so endlessly interesting. Maybe it's her complete insanity in being the very embodiment of selfish greed. Maybe it's her psychotic motivation of kidnapping puppies for the sake of a luxurious fur coat.
My only true love, darling. I live for furs. I worship furs.
Or maybe it's just her unique physical appearance, complete with her signature black and white hair. Either way, Cruella de Vil has remained a Disney icon for half a century.
I'll get even. Just wait. You'll be sorry. You fools. You idiots!
Number 3. The Evil Queen, aka Queen Grimhilda, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Despite being released before World War II, Snow White and its characters have remained quintessential Disney properties.
One bite, and all your dreams will come true.
Perhaps it's the quality of the story and characters themselves, or perhaps it's the fact that Snow White was the first full-length Disney film. As such, the Evil Queen holds the distinction of being the first Disney villain, and she remains one of the best. Her physical appearance is iconic, complete with her purple gown and black cloak, and her poison apple scheme remains one of the most famous in the Disney canon.
Breath will still. A blood congeal. Then I'll be fairest in the land.
Furthermore, while often misquoted, she gave us one of the most recognizable lines in all of movie history.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all?
Number 2. Ursula, the Little Mermaid. With her 6 squid tentacles and devious agenda, Ursula is both physically and morally revolting. She often strikes dubious deals with the merpeople of the sea, later turning them into creepy polyp figures that inhabit her underground lair.
Yes, I've had the odd complaint, but on the whole, I've been a saint.
She also provides one of the scariest climaxes in Disney history, as she uses Triton's trident to grow to a massive size. It makes for a blood-chilling visual, and it renders both Eric and Ariel completely powerless. Ursula's flamboyant personality is also quite unique within the Disney canon, with popular drag queen Divine being a major source of inspiration for the character. And let's be serious, Poor Unfortunate Souls is an absolute banger.
The boss is on a roll. This poor unfortunate soul.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty. Perhaps the most iconic Disney villain of all time, Maleficent serves as the very embodiment of evil. It's in her very name, after all.
Listen well, all of you.
The 2014 movie provides a very interesting twist on the Sleeping Beauty story by telling it from Maleficent's perspective. But the original incarnation will forever remain the greatest.
Now shall you deal with me, O Prince, and all the powers of hell!
Everything about her is timeless and classic. There's her physical appearance, which includes the instantly recognizable black and purple outfit and yellow eyes. There are her magical powers, which includes the ability to turn into a massive, fire-breathing dragon. And of course, there's the horned headdress that makes her look like a demon, perfectly representing her devilish character.
You poor simple fools, thinking you could defeat me, the mistress of all evil.
With a title like that, we have to say she nailed it. Which Disney villain is your favorite mistress of evil? Let us know in the comments below.
Oh, sweet revenge! Do these to satisfy us work perfectly!
No, that's because thou art perfect.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.